There is a world of difference between knowing a technique and being able to make it work. It's not even the same thing. There are lots of people out there who collect technique after technique after technique and can't make any of it work. They wouldn't be able to fight their way out of a wet paper bag if their life depended on it. This ability to actually pull something off in a real life situation is critical. Now, I hate to say it, but it's true that this problem is worse in some martial arts than in others. There aren't that many boxers out there trying to think of and catalog 85 different punches. No, generally, because they're testing their stuff against resistance, they're generally keeping it to the stuff that works. Jiu-jitsu, another martial art that tests its stuff all the time, is a little bit worse, just because jiu-jitsu can be so baroque. There are so many different techniques you can do. You can take the lapel and you can wrap it around the leg 3 times. You can stick your hand in here, and then you can do a cross choke, except you're using your opponent's lapel that's been wrapped around his neck, blah, blah, blah. There is more of a predisposition towards technique collection in jiu-jitsu than there is in boxing, just because there's more variables. But really, the worst martial arts for this are some of the kung fu guys who are out there collecting 1,000 different forms. Some of the Pencak Silat guys, because Silat can get so intricate. There are so many different systems of Silat, and each system of Silat gathers so many different techniques. They're stealing from each other, they're inventing from each other, and each one seems to want to outdo the last system in the level of complexity, the number of techniques, the baroqueness of it. It's almost an art. Like, how many different ways can I find to enter into Puta Kapala? The first series is 18 different ways. The next series is 36 different ways. The next series is 104 different ways. Trouble is, many of the people doing this can't find one way. So I have no problem with people collecting techniques. It's your life. If you want to collect different techniques and combinations, be my guest. Go right ahead. But please, do me the favor and have one thing that works. You want to learn 10 different attacks from the turtle? That's great. But make sure you have one attack from the turtle that actually works, that you can rely on when push really comes to shove. When you've really got to make it work, you go back to the one thing that works. Preferably 2 things that work. You want to collect all these crazy different lapel wrapping chokes from side mount? Great, go for it. But do you have one attack or 2 attacks that consistently work for you? You want to learn stick disarms, and you want to learn, you've got your basic 6 positions here, and you've got 18 disarms from position number 1, and you've got 24 disarms from position number 2. That's great. Do you have one that you can actually work in stick sparring? Do you have one that when everything else goes to hell, that one thing that you can rely on? You want to learn 1,000 different combinations, with combining your punches, your kicks, your knees, and your elbows? That's great. You want to learn 1,000 different series and, where you and your partner look really, really good on the pads? That's great. But do you have one that you can work against somebody who's really trying to punch your lights out? This is a sad thing when you have people dedicating this much energy to the collection and not enough energy to the implementation. I wrote an article a while ago on selfdefensetutorials.com called How to Make Sure Your Martial Art Will Work in the Street. And it talked about the 5 levels of training. Number 1 is solo training. I don't care if you're setting up your Puta Kapala in the air with all the fancy hand motions or if you're shadowboxing. This is still solo training. Level 2 is doing it with a partner, actually taking a partner down. Actually, having your partner hold focus mitts and you hit the jab, the cross, the hook. You're working with someone. You are going through the armbar from the guard on a real person. That's level 2. Level 3 is the person giving you a little bit of resistance, right? Instead of holding the focus mitts there, they're going to hold them to their chest and they're going to flash them. When they flash them, you have to hit. They're going to occasionally resist your throw, your takedown, your armbar, and you need to know what to do. This is light resistance. Then you start moving to heavier resistance. The person starts moving around holding the focus mitts. They start throwing at you, and you have to react. They're going to be kicking you low. You need to check it. They're going to be rolling and moving, and then all of a sudden they're going to give you that opportunity for the armbar. That's a higher level of resistance. Then you start doing contested but unidimensional sparring. I'm going to roll with you, and all I'm going to do is go for an armbar. That's the only attack I'm going to do. You're going to go against me, and all you're trying to do is take my back. We're going to spar, and the only technique we can use is the jab. We're going to spar, and the only technique we can use is a front push kick. I'm really trying to hit you with that front push kick, and you're really trying to not let me hit you with that front push kick. But we're isolating it. We're working on that in a contested situation. Then, finally, we move to the fifth level, which is all-out sparring, where we can do everything, where you can use that push kick and that jab and that takedown and that armbar in the context of sparring. You might do chokes and arm locks. We're rolling. I don't know what you're going to do. Are you going to go for that cutting armbar from butterfly guard? Are you going to go for an omoplata? Are you going to go for a sweep? Are you going to go for an arm drag? I don't know. But you're using the techniques in that context. So long as you have a couple of techniques that work from every position, then fill your boots. Go ahead and collect all the techniques that you want. It's your life. If that's what makes you happy, that's great. But for the love of God, don't be that person who can carry on at length about all the variations of the worm guard that Keenan Cornelius used last year and the 3 new variations he just introduced in his online program when you can't pass the guard. Don't be the person who can carry on about how some certain Pencak Silat teacher does his sweep this way and can off-balance the guy by putting his elbow here, by putting his hand here, by putting his head here, by putting his shoulder there, by putting his hand on the hip, and not actually being able to take anybody down when the intensity goes up. Don't be that guy. Have something that works. There's a world of difference between knowing a technique or knowing a series of techniques and having something that will work for you under pressure. As a martial artist, as maybe a martial sports competitor, and as somebody who would ideally be able to use this stuff in a real life situation, you need to have some go-to stuff, some stuff that can be relied upon, some stuff that will not let you down when push really has come to shove.